What's up, everyone? Welcome to another awesome episode of the She Social podcast. My name is Ms. Cosmo. Thank you for joining me every week here on my YouTube page, where we just dig deep with some of the women that we have on this platform, and we speak to them about their music, their careers, basically anything and everything that they're busy with from the creative spaces. And yes, please continue to engage with us on this page. Of course, subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know what you love about the podcast. Today, I have two really awesome females who are going to be chatting to me about their various spaces within the music industry and how they fit in. I do have ThandoNje as well as DBN Gogo, who will be joining me a little bit later. But my first guest is ThandoNje. Hey, Thando.
Hey, Ms. Cosmo.
How you doing, Thando?
I'm very well, thanks. And how you doing, Ms. Cosmo?
I'm good. I'm happy. I'm blessed. I'm feeling okay. I think lockdowns obviously got the better of all of us. But slowly but surely, things are moving. We're kind of getting used to being at home. How's lockdown been treating you?
Well, for me, lockdown has been really great. It's given me time to just plan, sort of have a bit of a bigger idea of what's the next step, where to from here. Because, it's quite obvious that we're never going to go back to the same industry that we were in, and everything is about to change. So it's just given me time to, step back and sort of think about what's the next plan, like where to from here. If we don't have any more shows, what do we do? How are we gonna, share the music and make sure that we eat from that too?
Yes, definitely. And I think that's what everybody's concern is with regards to the lockdown, also over and above that, just even after lockdown, how we're going to be moving post in a COVID type of world. Hopefully we'll be able to, get that vaccine soon enough for us to be able to continue and be able to gig, because that's what we do. That's how we make money as artists.
Definitely. It's a tough time for us because we're in an industry where entertainment is a big factor, and we need to be on stage. We need to be, at radio shows. We have to do tours, and COVID-19 just hit us with the strike. Everything locked down. Literally no show, no nothing.
Ish. So then how did that work out for you? Because you dropped a new project this year, if I'm not mistaken. You dropped an EP called Frequency. And at your point when you dropped the EP was also coinciding with when the lockdown actually happened. So obviously plans kind of have to now change from how you were going to market this project to what's actually happening now. How did that kind of affect the way that you were going to strategically move with your EP?
Well, I obviously just dropped the debut album, and I was obviously planning on dropping it beginning of the year, and I guess for me the time of it was perfect because the album on its own is a project of, it needs you to sit down, it needs you to listen, it needs you to sort of take in the music and allow yourself to, take yourself on that journey. So I wouldn't say that it affected the album, but it would have affected the rollout of the album. Like I didn't get to, do it the way that I wanted to do it. I didn't get to go on the road with it the way I would have loved to do it, but apart from not being able to like access the roads and the people, I think that dropping that album was like just a perfect time because people just have something to listen to, and it helps now because now I have a better idea of what people actually want to listen to and what they do when they listen to it, and how I can now become a bigger artist and how I can now do bigger things from just dropping an album. And obviously now everything has become digital, so it's more about more digital marketing now, so that's good for us because then we just use the social media platforms, obviously, whatever is available to us.
100%. And I like the fact that you're thinking forward about how else you can innovate and how you can adapt to the situation as opposed to it kind of adapting. One thing that I did realize with regards to lockdown was that turn up and club type of music didn't get as many streams, but obviously like more R&B, more soul, more acoustic type of music was getting more streams because people are at home and they're ingesting the music a little bit better. Did you find that you were getting a lot more interaction with your album because it is quite soulful, and like you said, it's one of those albums that you need to sit and listen to?
I definitely got a very good reception. I still am receiving like some good like comments with the album, and I would say that the lockdown would help artists like us because now people have the time to listen. I think that when you make the club bangers and the commercial music, people are there to enjoy it, but they don't really listen to it. Whereas with R&B and soul now, it's given us a time to sort of, like shed a light on the genre, especially here in SA because it's not as big as it should be, And I think it just shed a light more on the R&B and soul and allowed people to listen to music, not just me or just any other artist, but take the time to actually listen to what the artist is saying, and it's no longer about, the bang bang. People don't want to do that. Like as much as we'd like to do that, like we do that outside, but when we're home, people actually want to listen to like relaxed music.
That's so true. That's so true. Have you always
Yeah.
known that you wanted to be a singer, or was it something that kind of caught on to you a little bit later?
I always knew I could sing, but when I actually started initially, I was just a dancer. So my dream would be like, yo, one day I want to be a backup dancer for Beyonce, And then when I was in first year, like all of that changed. It literally did a shift because that's when I started doing covers. And then that's when I started getting recognition like for my covers with like the Casper Puma Game cover and the AKA covers. And I think from there onwards, I knew that my purpose was to make music because if like just acknowledging that I have such a great voice and knowing that it could have an impact on somebody else's life just and like apart from myself, that's when I knew that I wanted to make music and I wanted to use it to make the same impact so I could literally be Beyonce as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to be behind the scene.
That's so true. You can be the front runner of your career because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, everybody gets into the music industry or gets into the creative arts because they also want to be the front runner of their own careers. You have a very special
Yeah.
You have a very special interlude or intro rather to your album, which is dedicated to a late friend of yours who I think was also a friend of a lot of people that you kind of grew up with. Why was it so special for you to include that in the album in the beginning?
I think that the timing of the song came during the week that he was in ICU. So he was actually in hospital and he was getting operated. And when I had started recording the song, it actually wasn't the interlude that it is today. So while we're in studio, we're just recording the song. I was actually going to turn it into like an R&B song. I was writing lyrics and I don't know what happened, but like the energy just shifted in the room and I wrote that song and I sang it onto the mic. And literally the next day, that's when we had found out that he had left us. So I don't know if it was like, a sign from, the ancestors or the gods or the musical kings or whatever it was, but the intention behind making the song just made so much sense because I feel like just as friends we felt that in that moment maybe that was the time that he was crying out and saying, yo, I'm actually in a lot of pain. If this is my time, then let it be my time, type of thing, you know what I mean? So I think it was more of a spiritual song than it was anything, and I think that the song on its own holds a lot of power. So I wanted to, you know call it Kenny's interlude because he meant that much to us, but I knew that the song on its own would mean a lot to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. A little bit earlier, you mentioned that back in your dancing days, you wanted to be a backup dancer for the likes of Beyonce. Who were some of the artists that you looked up to when you obviously decided you wanted to be in the music career and say, I actually want to be in a space like that person?
In this industry, I'd have to say, because back when I was dancing, I was still listening to Manewa. I really, really, really loved listening to her music. There's that band with, I think the band had Do Me In. She was the singer in that band. I definitely listened to a lot of Lyra. That time, Vela, I was even watching Idols. I tried Idols like 3 times when I was actually like young. I tried it 3 times. I tried it out 3 times and I didn't make it.
At all?
I didn't make it. So like, you know how these like audition processes work. They always do like a pre-audition vibes, So I'd always make it to a point where I'd get the director's call and be like, hey, no, sorry man, you didn't make it to tomorrow's shoot. And I'd just be like, yo, why are these people not giving me the chance? Then I'll go again the next year. and then I'll go again the next year, and it will turn out the same.
Yeah, but you know, the one thing that I've always noticed about television shows like Idols or whatever, presenter searches or whatever the case may be, it's never the person who wins the actual the series who gets the bigger type of career. So
Yeah.
it's always the people who are the ones who tried it out, or the ones who were in the top 10, or maybe they made the top 26 or whatever the case may be. So maybe that was also your direction.
Yeah.
Because they wanted you to be able to kind of run your race in the way that you wanted to as well. So take the blessing as it is, you know?
Yeah. Definitely. I definitely take it as a blessing, you know, because I mean, looking at how far I've come, I didn't quit. I didn't give up. You know, I didn't hate anyone. I just continued, obviously, building my craft. And now I have my debut album, and it's doing well. It is charting on Apple Music. It's getting playlisted, you know. So God's timing, you know, it's never wrong. So whatever was meant to be is meant to be.
100%, 100%. All right. So one thing I also just wanted to kind of touch into, I did mention to you when we first started the interview that you're the first person from the LGBTQ community that I am interviewing. And I think it's very important for us to also have conversations with regards to where you feel you stand in the music industry. Do you ever feel as though you're either being criticized or maybe being judged or being placed in a box that they expect you to kind of fit in, even though that's not who you feel you are?
I mean, I've never had to feel that way, like in a space. I've never had to feel like I'm being judged. And although people don't say it, you can always tell how people feel and like what their intentions are just from your sexuality. You know, like for me to walk into a room and to sort of come in with a manly position of saying that I'm coming in here and I'm demanding my space, and this is what I want, this is what you're gonna have. So I think for me, I've never given people the opportunity to disrespect who I am and what I do. So just like being able to take a stand like that on its own is just more than enough for me, because that way I'll always inspire others to, you know, take up their own space and never allow like the sexuality thing to come in between the careers or come into business or come into relationships, you know, because at the end of the day, behind the music, I am who I am, but if I'm making the music, I'm just the artist, and so are you.
Yes, that's so true. And I think that's what's important, is that people just need to still take the music for what it is. But I won't lie, I think maybe for the first time, because I listened to your music from your debut album, and knowing who you are and how I've seen you within the industry, obviously we interact from an event perspective. And like you mentioned, you come through with like a little bit of a manly position. And then hearing such a sweet voice on your album is a little bit of a, okay, is this what's happening now? How did you feel that people were kind of receiving that on your end as well when it comes to your music?
I definitely think so, but I think the music sort of allowed people to have a more like peaceful and calm judgment now. It's like, okay, we see this person looking all manly and they look mean and rough in the streets, but when you actually listen to her music, you get to understand a different character or a different part of me. People definitely don't think I sound like what I look like. People would assume that maybe I'm here to rap or whatever, but then when you hear the music, it's like, damn, that's crazy.
It is completely crazy. And I remember once actually seeing an interview that you did with Slick on Life. It was that clip that was circulating at some point about how to say your name. Is it Thando, or is it ThandoNje, or is it just Thando? And I think also kind of seeing little things like that where people like Slicker are interviewing you, automatically people will be
from Absolute.
Yeah, so Tando's a rapper. That's where you can kind of expect her to place herself. And then the album plays, and then you're like, oh, okay, maybe not.
I think it also took some time for me to allow myself to become a vulnerable artist. I think that with my past projects, I always made what I perceived as, you know, the best genre. So I'd make like trap soul, which is what you'd hear from like my first project, which is new age soul. So I'd make, you know, the hip hop, and I'd rap here and there. I did the ThandoNje collaboration, and that was also like a different sound, but it took a lot of me to become vulnerable and allow people to tap into my kind of, dimension, like, and just to make that kind of music that allows other people to open up, so I think that making the music that I make now has just allowed people to feel and think different of me as well.
Nice. Thank you so much for joining us today on She Social Podcast, Thando. I think we've gotten to know you a little bit more, but obviously this won't be the last time that we have you on the podcast. I do want to find out from you, what can we look forward to coming through from ThandoNje for the rest of 2020 and also maybe even 2021?
Well, what you can look forward to from my side is visuals. I'm definitely planning on dropping a short film. I'll be doing a documentary for the album, which is based on suicide, depression, highlighting that and giving people the platform to just express themselves and speak on and receive the help that they need. I really want to try and create a different space for music on its own, and allowing people to sort of heal from music and from different artists. So I want to definitely, I'm still working on creating a platform where it's going to allow people to just, heal from other people's stories when we connect, Zoom with people from the States, from people from London, people from Africa, just to, sort of try and tap into each other's worlds and understand how different people from different backgrounds deal with things like depression, losing their friends, losing their loved ones, and just allowing people to be more open about how they feel and what they're going through. That's just what I want to do. So you can definitely expect visuals for the album. I think I might drop another project, a summer project. I don't know. I really just, there's no limit. There's no limit. I'm in a good space. I'm feeling very creative.
That's good. And all we want is the music. So continue to create. We'll definitely be supporting of you. And I like the fact that you're touching on such serious themes as well, because I think those conversations are usually shied away from, especially within the Black community. So it's great that you're creating platforms for people to start having those conversations, to feel comfortable enough to speak about them. And of course, to try and heal them as well, and using music and the creative arts to do that.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I don't think that our industry is as open to these kind of situations. And as an artist, I know that there are a lot of people that are dealing with depression, especially now that it's lockdown. DJs aren't getting to play, artists aren't getting to, perform their music. So as much as they are actually depressed, maybe, they're putting a facade on, because the game is the game, and you have to be, you have to be strong to be in the game. I think that it is very important for us to highlight those matters, because the people who support our music go through so much, and we as artists too go through so much. That's why we make the music that we make. And I think that it's important for us to create a platform where it allows people to be free to express themselves and just not be judged for not being okay. Like, it's okay, understand? So that's all I'm about. I'm just all about spreading love and making sure that anyone that is around me, or anyone that is going to hear my music, feels love and feels that they're given a platform to be themselves, and it's okay to be yourself.
100%. And that's why you call yourself the healer. I saw that on your Twitter page as well.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm becoming very strong in my spiritual realm. So I think that the more I discover of, like, about myself, the stronger I become, and then I start to see my purpose, and I start to realize that I'm not just an artist, and the music that I make will always be different to what the world hears or what people would like to hear, but it is going to heal people, which is what I think my purpose is, as an artist. I think that I was brought here to heal, and that is what I'm gonna do. And the more I heal, the stronger I become, and the more powerful I become. And I don't know, like 10 years from now, we'll be healing people from like just a scan of a fingerprint on a phone. I don't know, but I see it. But it's gonna be magical. It's gonna be beautiful to see Africa as a continent be strong, you know, like spiritually, before we are out of the world, before we're out of Africa. I think that the world is changing so much, and we're starting to realize that our continent was never meant to be westernized as much as it is now, and we just have to play catch up. There's a lot of things that we need to remember, a lot of things that we need to think about and rebuild, especially like in the year 2020. like it's all about independence, but it's all about healing people, spreading love, because the world is a cruel world, man. And the only way the world can become a better place is if you make the change. You understand? If you spread the love to someone else, they will spread the love to someone else. And it's just gonna keep on going and going and going and going. So I'm all about positivity. So I don't know, maybe I'll open a church or something. I don't know, but I'll be doing what I'm supposed to be
I
doing.
was about to say Muruti Thando is in the building already, giving us the gospel, giving us.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't know what God has in store for me, but I'm fully prepared for it, and I'm fully prepared to give it to the world too.
1000%. And I think we're all ready to be part of that journey. Keep on blessing us with the music, keep on healing the world with your spiritual gift. And I think like I said, we will definitely have you back on the platform and continue to give us the music, and we'll continue supporting you that way as well. Thank you so much, Thando.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless you and your grind. God bless what you're doing. Positivity all the way. Just I just wish the best for everyone, for yourself. Don't let anyone tell you what you can't do, because nothing is impossible and the possibilities are infinite. So you just do whatever you believe in, and just remember that you're the only one that is going to do it. You're literally your own enemy, you're your own competition. There's nobody else and nothing else. Indeed.
Yes, I believe in that too.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Oh man, what an inspiring conversation coming through from ThandoNje here on She Social podcast. All right, with that, we are going to make our way to our second guest for today, the one and only Umakriza Wekruvo. Yes, I'm talking about DBN Gogo. Welcome back. We have our second guest for our She Social episode today, the one and only DBN Gogo. Hey, girl. Finally, I have you on She Social podcast. You were also one of the original DJs, resident DJs that I had on the She Social event. And you were giving me a little bit of slack a few seconds ago, saying, why wasn't I called up a little earlier? Things happen for a reason. You must just be patient.
100%. 100% patience. You know what? I think it's just obviously just during this time and just not being sure of everything that's going on. It wasn't more of a thing of why wasn't I called earlier. It was more of a thing is she going to call me? Because like all the resident DJs were called, and it's like, okay, she's also adding people. It's great. You have musicians, you have whatever. But now all the resident DJs have been called, and it's like, okay.
You thought I was being spicy. I don't have time to be spicy, baby girl. Don't worry.
And that's also what I said. I'm like, no worries.
No, I was waiting for the right time, and this is the right time. This is the right time to have this interview. So, DBN Gogo, you've been shaking up parties. You've been making waves. People have been raving and ranting about you. And of course, in a space where piano has taken over pop culture in South Africa, you were at the helm of it and you came in at the right time. Everything has timing. So how are you feeling about being, I don't know if you like this term, but being the new it girl? Because that's clearly who you are with the DJing space.
There's so many mixed emotions, and even just with this lockdown happening and the fact that I was still able to elevate, myself, my brand, my career. It's been so tricky because you always go back to people like, okay, how was she able to do it and everyone else was not? And I always have to reconcile myself, like, you did it because you worked. You work. It's constant, everyday work, and you can't feel bad for other people not doing the same. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, that's it. I am the girl. Let me be the girl. Yes. Let me continue being the girl.
Yes.
And just even sitting down having conversations. I was lucky enough to spend some time with DinHo before we shot the episode of
PJ Party.
PJ Party. And she was just like, girl, I can tell that you feel like in a very weird space right now, and there's a lot of push and pull. There's people even in the industry that you're becoming friends with, and it's great. And then some people like now starting to be, but sucks, it's gonna happen. But you need to know exactly what you want out of this, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and it's all yours for the taking. There's enough space. If we're all working, there's enough space, because it goes back to even that chat of when people were saying, open up the industry, when everyone was against Somizi hosting his show, and it's just like, but who else would host that kind of a show? Who has a rapport with people? Exactly. Opening up the industry is one thing, but saying that people who have been around or who are doing good things and great things for themselves must make space. No, absolutely not. 100%. If they have the means to make opportunities for people, opportunities, not space. Yeah. Sure as hell. Like, you have made opportunities for us to showcase our talent. You're also making an opportunity for us to have open and honest conversations about certain things, because you are at the place that you are in your career, that you can do that. But no one said Noni must step aside and let the other girl hip-hop DJs take over. No, absolutely not. No ways.
I like that you're very passionate about the position that you're in right now. You're also very steadfast in believing in yourself, and I think that's one thing that women need to take hold of, especially in the music industry, especially in the creative arts that we have in South Africa, because we tend to doubt ourselves. We tend to second guess our placement. Sometimes we're told to kind of be or humble ourselves purposely so that we don't seem as if we're too pompous for being in a position that we're in. And I'm 100% behind you, girl. If you're in a space, take up that space. Zozibini did it for us, and she told us to take up that space, so we're out here taking it up. But of course, I do want to chat a little bit more about you and chat about how you got into the music space. I think the one thing that some people still need a little bit of clarity on is you being from Pretoria but calling yourself DBN Gogo, and then it's like, okay, ukhuluma isiZulu, or she chekas Pitori, or what's happening, what's going on. Give us a bit of a breakdown from your perspective who DBN Gogo is.
Okay, guys. So my name is Mandisa Khatebe. I am Zulu. My parents are Zulu. I'm from KZN. I'm from a big township in Durban called Guamash. I mean, I lived there maybe for about 3-4 months when I was born. And then we moved. So I haven't lived in Durban for a very long time. I went back grade 11 and matric in boarding, but I don't live there. I lived in Pretoria for most of my life because my parents' work took them there. They had to move to Pretoria. So I've always been around Pretoria people, even just at school, besides being around people who are from Pretoria, also other nationalities of people, because at the end of the day, Pretoria is the capital city. So you will find a lot of embassies and things are in Pretoria. So I will even, Congolese friends, Nigerian friends, Zimbabwean friends. And it just kind of happened that way. Like, if you know Pretoria, you know that you can be from Pretoria and not even have been born there. It's just that kind of a city.
Yes.
And the lads, they represent me, I represent them, but my roots is why I call myself DBN Gogo, because I am still from there.
You are still from there. I remember seeing a clip that you had posted once on social media. I think it was on YouTube, that had mentioned why you specifically chose Gogo as a DBN. Can you just give us a deep brief? Because I mean, I think a lot of people will obviously wonder, okay, why was Bizu Gogo mncane kanje? It doesn't really kind of make sense. But I mean, we'll vibe you. We'll entertain you for now. But give us that breakdown.
So I mean, the name in itself has obviously two meanings. There's the meaning, the real one, like how I got it, which was from my friends. We were on the way to Bushfire Festival, just having girl talk. And my other friend is like, where she's from, they call reverse missionary, DBN Gogo. And then they started calling me that. So I kept it. Even my first gig, I was like, I need a name, guys. And they're like, no, you have a name. And I was like, I mean, it does work. I'm from there. And then also being a bit more spiritually inclined, having certain gifts and stuff. I can't really elaborate more on that because even I'm not really sure exactly what my kind of calling would be, but that is really it fits. It's like they knew before I knew, so it just fits, you know. It was very weird.
So that's why I was told Lisa Gogo, because your gift came through with the right time. Everything has a
100%.
timing. That's such an awesome story to speak of, and I think also just kind of diving into you deciding to become a DJ was also just one of those journeys you needed to kind of explore, where you've now discovered this gift where you've had a love for music. But obviously a lot of people were like, okay, well, we've known Mandisa because she grew up in Pretoria with us, but we didn't realize that she had this specific type of talent. How did you decide that you wanted to actually be a DJ and represent, not necessarily represent piano, because you were a house DJ before you got into piano?
I just always been in music. I used to be in choir, I was doing ballet, I did piano at some point, did recorder at school. I was in a hip-hop group. I was actually in Twitch before it became just boys for like a month or two. Yeah, imagine. So I've just always been around music. My mom, if you're at home, she sings like every single day. Just growing up around those influences. And then obviously, you know, Banger came in, partying. And then I was just like, you know what? Like, I really like this, but like sometimes I just feel like the DJs aren't doing the right thing, because I was always the girl there. I'm on the dance floor. Like, even before sections became a thing, I was never a section hand. I was dance floor in front of the DJ booth in my heels. You know, even back then, clubs were very strict. You have to wear heels. I even had my favorite pair of heels that I knew the whole night I can go. And it's just like, some of these DJs just not doing it. I think I could do a better job. And yeah, that's actually how it kind of happened.
That's actually such it's a dope way to kind of get yourself into something, because you've seen an issue and you're just like, hi man, there's a gap in this industry here, and hopefully I'll be able to fill it. And I remember having the same conversation with Vicky Newlands, and she was also just like, hi, these guys keep repeating sets, they're boring me now, maybe I need to kind of come in and shake things up a bit, which is awesome, because I think a lot of the time women kind of second guess themselves as to whether they can do things like that, whether they can get into spaces and shake things up. But you had the confidence in yourself to actually go in and be like, yo man, I can do this just as good as the guys can. And hence we have DBN Gogo rocking every party within South Africa. How have you felt that your career has kind of projected as quickly as it did? Has it shocked you with the way that people have taken to likening of your brand?
It really has. You know, obviously before lockdown happened, there were certain things, there were steps that were going to take place, festivals, like it was steady growing. But then lockdown happened, and then lockdown house party happened. And I was just like, okay, that's very interesting that now people are really interested, as much as they can't be there. They're like avid followers, supporters. Like, when we open, I'm there. Come to us or we'll come to you, I'm there. And it really just took me by complete surprise, because I don't feel like it's real yet, you know?
Really?
Because it's yeah, like it's so weird, because like I'm not even in front of you guys, I'm not there, you know. I'm a big believer in energy and stuff, and it's just like, you know, when I'm there, it's gonna be a much different experience. But if you guys can feel it through your TV, then that is really amazing. And that thing really just propelled the whole trajectory of where my brand was going. And you know, you'd be surprised that something like that will happen during a pandemic.
You know what? Some are blessed with situations and opportunities like that. And I think you being able to take it by the horns and being able to still run with it is what's important at the end of the day, because people would obviously at a time like this, like you're mentioning, it's very difficult to still kind of shine, because lockdown is preventing us from being out at Groove. Groove is usually where we interact with people. But with lockdown, you also find that people aren't really consuming a lot of groove music as much as they were prior to it. But you've actually been one of those people who've been lucky enough to still be able to work in this pandemic and still being able to make some money. So shout outs to you, and shout outs to your team, and shout outs to your brand, because people are loving Goxin and her energy. Tell us just a little bit about your journey with the ThandoNje team, because I know that was your very first gig where you decided, okay, I'm taking this thing to the public. Let's rock.
So, I mean, funny enough, people never know. I've known Malachi since I was 15. Yeah, grade 9. I've known him for a very long time. I mean, when I used to be in the Hatfield streets, like grooving Zanzu, street and night Thursdays, like I used to even go to school on a Friday, and it's just like, how did I even manage all of this? Obviously, even Sibu at the time, truly I've known since grade 7. So when I was like, guys, I'm actually learning now. Please put me on. I went to him, I asked him. It wasn't a thing of like, oh, you guys, you're teaching now, we should. I was just like, please put me on. I'll open. I know no one will be there. I will open. And that's literally how it started. I was just like, I think I'm ready, guys. And they're like, okay, sharp. Opening session of Sonnyfontein, 2017 February. You're on 12 o'clock. And I was like, okay. I got there 11:30. And I played. My friends came and I played. And, you know, even looking back at those videos and just videos from that year, like, I was so not sure of myself. Just, you know, when you're playing and you're looking down, and it's just like, wow, 3 years. That it seems like a lifetime ago.
Yes, it does seem like a lifetime ago, but look how quickly things have changed, and obviously your confidence is built over time as well, because a lot of nerves can go in with your first set. And how packed was it? Because I know ThandoNje gets full very quickly during the day. Weren't you scared that you're going to play and there was already going to be like a whole crowd of people?
No, that was 2017. That was like the second year that ThandoNje was going in. It started 2016 in October. So this was like the 4th or 5th ThandoNje ever. And I knew, like at that time, you know, now by 2 o'clock it's already full. That time people only used to start coming at like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm fine. It was legit. Even if I show you the videos, it was my friends on beanbags, my boyfriend with his friend on the other side, and the staff at ThandoNje. Because it was the first time they had moved the stage from the courtyard to that big open space. So no, not at all. But like even just in front of my friends, I was just like, oh my God, am I gonna make a mistake? It's even today, dude, like I still get nervous all the time.
And you know what? Nerves are good. I think a lot of people shy away from being nervous about certain things, but I think being nervous is really good because it means you still care about your craft. It means you still care about what you're putting out there and what you want people to consume. So the more you put yourself out there, the more you're actually still gonna kind of feel that little tingling feeling in your stomach, and that's good because it means something great is about to happen. Speaking to that, you are also working on music. I mean, you've released your first single, Mayonnaise, which has done so well on streaming platforms. A lot of people have caught on to the song. They've even caught on to the Glazov dance. Actually, before we get into the music, can you explain that Glazov thing? Because now what you're doing is you're influencing little kids to grab Amaclass and put it on their faces.
The plastic one. I don't want to fight with anyone's parents. So, you know, everyone always keeps saying Glazov, you invented the Glazov. And I'm like, I didn't invent it. You know, it was something like people were doing. Because it was last year, towards the beginning of last year, there was that picture circling on Twitter of that girl. She had like, I don't know, braids or like dreads, and the sides of her head was shaved. And there were 2 guys sitting on the couch next to her, and she was standing, and she had the champagne glass in her mouth. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's so ratchet, whatever. Then 2 months later, Trap Lords used to host at Vanity in Pretoria every Thursday. So we were there, and I kept seeing them with the Hennessy, with the cognac glass, like doing this thing. Then I saw the picture the next day on the Vanity Instagram page, and I was like, okay, this actually looks really cool. Like, I understand why people think it's ratchet, but I think it's really cool. Then one day, altitude in Midland, I'm busy playing, and my photographer is taking snaps of me. And then I had my glass in my hand, and I just put it in my mouth, and she took snaps. And Jiggy Jiggy, you have the glass off now. I just couldn't believe it. Because there was even someone, I'm actually going to call Solly out. Solly actually tweeted about it like, oh, you guys used to say that this thing was ratchet now until, you know, your faves are doing it. And I was like, oh, okay, but nothing is invented until it becomes popular.
Exactly.
So it is what it is.
And that's the age that we're living in right now. We're living in a social media age where things are progressing quick and fast, and they're also catching on just as quickly as well. And as mentioned, your music is also catching on. Your first single, Mayonnaise, did well, but now we've also got word that you are going to be dropping an EP, collaborative EP with Dino Cafe. So can you give us just an exclusive drop as to what exactly is happening with the EP and why did you choose to collaborate with Dino Cafe?
So Dino is the one who actually hit me up, and he's just like, hey dude, you know, I've been in the studio working. It's obviously time now to drop music, and do you want to pull up? We can make a few songs for you. I have an in-house producer, whatever. And I'm just like, you know, that's really interesting because a friend of mine, fellow Liti, was just like, dude, I mean, I produce. I'm really willing to help you. Like, I'm tired of you not being able to release music because you're waiting for everyone else to give you the stuff that you've gone to studio for. Like, I made so many songs last year and none of them have come out because it's like, obviously, I'm not the one who's making the beats. So it just becomes that tug of war for the music. Then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to pull through with fellow. I have vocalists. There's so many people I know who can sing. And let's do it. Then, you know, when now we're listening to songs, now 3 of my beats have gone in, while Fellow's beats have gone in, 3 of Dino's beats from Vine Music, his producer, have gone in. And we're like, why don't we just do a joint, you know, thing? Because we both haven't, besides obviously Mayonnaise, we both haven't like properly dropped any projects. So, you know, there's influences from both sides. Obviously, Dino being the president of my Melody, and then your Gogo on this side. And I was like, I think it can actually work for both of us. And the energy, the synergy in studio is just so amazing. And it's just nothing I've ever felt before. And he was just like, let's do it. Even now, we're planning to make individual songs for all the vocalists, you know, so that we start to create a catalog of music, you know, amongst ourselves. And yeah, dude, it's going to be amazing. I love every single song. And I think it's coming next week.
Oh, yes. So are you
coming next week? So this week, when you watch this, it's coming this week.
It's gonna be this week. It's gonna be dropping this week. This week Friday, as you mentioned, or this weekend, hopefully. And we're gonna be grooving to it soon. So, are you contending there with the Scorpion Kings, or are you, you know, trying to punch them to the top, or what's happening there?
Dude, the Scorpion Kings will always be Scorpion Kings, but Dino and Gogo is Dino and Gogo. The sounds are so different, and obviously working with vocalists that are unknown, you know, so it's like a passion project for all of us. Everyone put in their efforts, just trying to create music that is owned by everyone, and that's the kind of feel that we're pushing, you know. People who had the most contribution into the project, everything is equal. No one owns more percent than anyone else. It's like about the music more than anything, and that's gonna be different, dude. And a lot of the lyrics, I think girls are going to relate to a lot more, because I'm like, that's the kind of narrative and story I want to push. I'm a piano, you know, we dance to it all the time, but like, girls aren't singing about the kind of things we want to sing about, you know. It's only just love or whatever, but like, there's a lot of stuff we want to say, and we are saying it on this EP.
I hope you're not being too ratchet, because you can see Cardi B's already getting her piece of the pie, where people are saying, you're going a little bit too far off now. So
it's very PG.
Okay.
Everything is PG. There's not one single swear word.
Pella, we don't know with you. Sometimes you can get a little a little rough around the edges, you know, but it's okay. I'll save that for when we go back to the club, babe.
100%.
All right, so we're quite excited. The project is dropping this week. Obviously, 2020 has been a bit of a weird year, but it's been a good year for DBN Gogo, and we're supporting you 110%. She Social will always be behind you, and we're quite excited to hear the music. And what else can we expect coming through from you for this year as well as next year?
Oh man, just let them open the gates and I will show you that you are gonna see my face everywhere. You know, like, wow, you can just expect a lot more. More music, more shows, more brand collabs, more everything. Just a lot of black girl magic. More
Yes.
she. That girl, that
Yes.
girl.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I remember once I actually did I did challenge you to giving us a new hairdo with like 6 different colors on your head, and you still haven't done it. I'm still waiting. So hopefully soon.
Ah, I definitely did, Noni. But it's fine. The next braids I do, you're gonna see. I'm going to make them individual. I won't mix them the way I've been
Yes,
mixing them. Um,
individual, and you must give us maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 colors now this time. I don't know. We'll work around it. We'll see what the color reel says and how many we can work with. You know what I mean?
I will. I will do it. When are we doing a She Social stream?
She Social stream, She Social events is definitely going to come back. That was the plan for 2020, was that I was going to bring the event back, but obviously lockdown happened. So that's when we re-looked at things and said, okay, let's start with the podcast first, have the conversations with the ladies, and then we'll then roll back into the eventing space. So all we need is for government to open the gates and we'll be back at it, you know? So we'll definitely see you out there, and of course the party will continue. But thank you so much for joining us today, DBN Gogo, and blessings to you. Blessings to your rosies, and you know, we're gonna keep on shining 100%, and everything has its time. I've been saying.
Everything has its time. I hope that's the name of this episode. Everything has its time. Thank you so much.
And there you have it. That concludes our episode with She Social. Our guest today were really awesome. ThandoNje, just so spiritual, so understanding, so vulnerable, and not expecting that coming through from her, but really appreciated her messaging and how she's so confident in herself and not necessarily allowing what society has to say to define who she is. She is herself. She is ThandoNje. And of course, DBN Gogo also standing firm in her position and understanding that being an it girl, it ain't a problem, B. You know, everybody's just out here just trying to make their money. But shout outs to the ladies, the strong women who come through on this platform every single week, sharing their stories. We really do appreciate it. I have been seeing some of your comments. I have been seeing some of your love. Please keep subscribing. Please keep on commenting and letting me know who you want me to interview. I did see a couple of suggestions coming through in the comment section, and I will look through them and obviously make those conversations happen. Join me again next week here on the She Social podcast.